Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Magnificent Seven stocks, as well as some other stocks whose earnings reports have come out this week. See if we can find any general trends, places for value, things such as that. So, CNN, we are in extreme greed. We've been in high greed or extreme greed on all these charts really since late November, early December. So nothing's really changing there. Going over to the charts, this is the S&P 500, and we've been in this upward ascending channel since the great financial crisis. And I drew an extra trend line in here. So you guys remember, trend lines, channels are only good for as long as they're good for. And that's why I constantly preach patience, and that time in the market's more important than timing the market. As you can see here from this lowest point, we've only reached that twice during the COVID crash and the dip of the great financial crisis. This upper end, though, we keep smacking above it, and we recently have crawled above the 50 zone. So, some things to note there. This lower trend line, we've only hit it. We almost touched it twice in 2011 and 2016, but then we've started to hit it a few more times, or it's becoming more frequent in 18, 20, a bunch of times in 22, and then last year, October 23. So, should the market start to roll over, I think this area might be a good area to start dollar cost averaging in, depending on the stocks you're looking at. Let's go over to the VIX, and the VIX still low, so really nothing popping off. When the VIX is popping off really high, that's a red alert signal for you to look for value in the stocks, find good long-term plays. And the VIX, by the way, if you don't know, that's just an index of the volatility of the markets. When we take the VIX divided by the volatility of the VIX, we get this looking chart right here. And what this shows is that when we are spiked down here, those tend to be local tops in the markets, and when we spike on the other end up top, that tends to be high. So maybe we're getting back down there, or maybe we're going to be chopping down here for a little bit. Who knows? Taking a look at the US 10-year versus 2-year, we're still down here. And guys, for those of you who don't know, the 10-year, what this is doing is just measuring the rates of bonds basically, and whether the curve is inverted or uninverted. Typically, after it goes inverted, there's recessions that happen, and especially uninverted. Something to note that after it has uninverted in January of 01 and April of 07, there was still about 20 months, something like that, until the bottom of the markets. So it can signal that a recession is coming. So just something to keep an eye on. We have unemployment coming out, and when we take a look at unemployment down here, what do we notice? We notice it is ticked back up. So if we, well, I guess that's all we can do is zoom in right there. But it did come down a little bit. We were at 3.7, and now it looks like we've ticked up to 3.9. So do know that as unemployment's curling up, that's a precursor for possible bad times in the markets. This usually is spiking while we're in a recession. So just some things to keep an eye on. Bitcoin, I do separate videos on Bitcoin. My God, look at all these lines. What's Bitcoin doing? Let's take a look. So that happened today. I think that happened today. My God. Yep. Bitcoin, new all-time high today. I haven't checked the news or nothing. And as you can see, the last couple times we've made all-time highs, or new all-time highs. We had a little bit of a peak above it here. Here, that is for sure the all-time high in Bitcoin. And man, this is exciting times. As we got up there, what happened? Guys, we're going to have a lot of sell orders, a lot of shorting in this range, at the all-time high range. So something to keep in mind. Bitcoin has these three towers, these three peaks up here. So is Bitcoin going to run up into further all-time highs and continue this pattern of cycles where it just continues further up into these orange bands up here? Maybe we'll see. Or Are we going to have a mid-cycle top? I talk about that in my Bitcoin videos, so check those out. Moving on to stocks. So Magnificent Seven. NVIDIA, something to note with NVIDIA, well, you can see it touching this trend line right here, but I drew a fib from the prior high to the low, and notice that one at the 3.618, yes, we are at the 3.618. That's how extended we are right now. We touched that fib, and we had a little bit of rejection off of it. So I was wondering, what happened at the last fib? So at the fib before it, we had a similar deal where we rejected off and then came up. This one looks like we're probably going to reject off. Are we going to go back up? We'll see. And before, look how many times we had to test this before finally breaking through. So NVIDIA, the strongest stock out there. This thing is just so parabolic right now. And a lot of people are looking for 1,000. 1,000 is a very strong psychological level. As you can see up here, the next fib is 1114. So should NVIDIA get through this 967 range, and give or take 5 or 10, okay, because my fibs probably aren't perfect, but should it get through this fib right here, then 1,000 being the psychological level, and then 1114 are the areas to look for. So if you bought any NVIDIA down here, congratulations. Here's my thoughts, guys. If you have bought anywhere down here, even up a little higher, and that is the type of profits you're seeing, do know how long we've been here, okay? This has been under 2 years. If you have any asset that goes up 5, 10x inside of that time, it may be a good idea to take profits. Not financial advice, but even the strongest stocks in the world, like let's go to Microsoft, for example. And as we zoom out here, what do we notice? Let's just pick this point down here because we're at the bottom of this little range here. So May of 2013. Let's go to May of 2014 and where we're at. Up 40%. Let's go to May of 2015 to the height of there. Up 70%. Let's go to May of 2016. And this is a really good, healthy looking chart, right? Up 100%. Okay, we've already gone 3 years. Let's go to May of 2017. We are up 150%. Guys, this is the best stock in the world. Let's go to May of 2018. Up 250%. This is what healthy, good, amazing stocks look like. And I would argue Microsoft is the best stock in the world. Okay, maybe you would say Apple. That's fine. The point still stands, though. This is about the average of a healthy climb for a stock. You can take a look at other stocks like Costco. That one had earnings come out this week, I believe. Costco, we can take a look at the same thing, guys. And you notice exactly the point I'm trying to tell you here about taking profits. Let's even go here. October 2017. Let's go to October 2018. Okay, a 50%. Let's go to October 2019. Up 100%. You guys get the point. Inside of 2 years, we have gone up a crazy amount. And if you were lucky enough to buy down here and get dang near a 700% return, just saying you may want to take some profits. Okay, the market cap is 2.3 trillion. A lot of new investors out there. If you're not familiar with market cap, listen up. This is important because there's a lot of bad videos out there on YouTube. If you put in $1,000 on NVIDIA right now because you are loving what you're seeing on the news, and I'm not recommending putting in right now because I believe you're chasing the hype, but if you put in 1,000 and you expect your 1,000 to turn to $2,000, then you believe NVIDIA will be a $4.6 trillion company soon. Here's the problem with that. Even the top stocks in the world, Microsoft and Apple, look where they're at. Apple 2.65 trillion. Microsoft 3 trillion. So Nvidia would have to surpass the top stock in the world by 1.5 trillion for you to double your money at this point. So what's driving Nvidia up? Is it retail getting in? Sure, a little bit. It's also daily on the calls and puts. It is the highest stock or at least top 5 every day as far as calls and puts go. Excuse me, drinking my coffee before it gets cold. So that's spiking this up. And yeah, this thing's going parabolic. Now, I preach a lot about long term investing on this channel so we can try to maximize value in our plays and look for good areas of value. Guys, as you can see, relative strength index, we are overbought. And I would say there's probably going to be a lot of shorts or sellers coming in around 1,000 and up in this higher fib range at 1114 or 1100. So 1,000 to 1100, I think, is going to get really choppy, and that might be dumping area. Now, might Nvidia blow past that even further? Sure, why not? Who knows? But something to keep in mind, this is just for all the markets, is that when we have rate cuts, we have big dumps later. Now, people were thinking a recession was going to happen here. And then we had COVID, money printing, and I think that has delayed a bigger recession, and we may get back down to these levels should that happen. But the last times we had rate cuts after holding rates higher for longer, here's where that happened. Okay, near the peak of the dot-com bubble and before the great financial crisis. So rate cuts have not been bullish. Sure, you might get a little run up, okay? But when they cut rates, whenever that is, whether in July or May, whatever, be careful. And especially if they're cutting rates really fast, if they're cutting rates in large ways, especially be careful. Okay, next let's go to Microsoft because we were talking about that. And where are we at Microsoft? So Microsoft in the last year, as you can see, we found this range and we've just been chopping around sideways for a bit. So that's good. Microsoft has been going sideways since January. If we throw on a buy sell signal indicator, do we have anything on the weekly? And as far as buy sell signals go, I start by looking at the weekly at the very least. As you can see, we've ran up really, really hard since October of 23. How big is this move? So 34%. Excuse me. So you can see here it's bouncing off that moving average to 10. Maybe it'll come back down to the 20 or just go sideways and meet with it. But Microsoft overbought, looking very bullish, very strong, still looking for a turnaround. I do think, and this is important as we get into this here, I do think that with the way Apple and Google are looking lately, these may be some warning signs. So Apple, we have a sell signal on the weekly as well as the monthly. And so how long do those play out? Well, sometimes we just get a little bit of a sell signal for a monthly. Usually it takes a little bit. Usually these play out for a bit longer because it is such a macro signal. But as we go to the weekly here, what do we notice? We are right at that 382 fib at around 179, almost to the dot. Should we go below that, your next targets can be down here. And something else I look at when we start getting lower on the fibs and these sell signals start playing out, I start looking at the moving averages. And I think this will be a good one, the 20, 50, 100, 200. What do we notice here? So we are right near that 100 moving average, and the 200's down here. Guys, if it's any of the top 5 stocks in the world, Amazon, Google, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, or Meta, when they're at under the 100, those tend to be great times to buy. So how many times has that happened since the great financial crisis? Let's go on a little brief journey here because you'll see how rare this is. Since the great financial crisis, and again, we're watching this teal line. This is once, this is twice. You could say, I'm going to put this all together, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now 8. So 8 times in the last 16 years. So once every 2 years, we get down to these levels. So If you like Apple, you use Apple. Those are two rules for myself when I invest. I have to like the product. I have to use the product, because when you use the product, that is one of the best ways you can have insider knowledge on a company and whether it's trending in the right direction or not. So you use the product, you like the product, and it is one of the top stocks in the world at or under the 100 moving average. Guys, that is a great long-term time to dollar cost average in, or historically it has been. So if you're looking for a play and you believe Apple will be around in 10, 20 years and that it'll keep growing, then getting Apple under the 100 moving average has been a really smart thing to do. So not financial advice, but should this stay around here or even get under to the 0.5, I think that would be very juicy and hard not to get some Apple stock. Should it get near the 200 or under that, that is red alert. Definitely think about getting Apple stock. So next, let's move on to Amazon. Amazon, what can I say? This thing just keeps climbing. It's bullish. We don't need to put the buy sell signals on here. You guys can see there's nothing that would indicate a sell signal. So if you got Amazon here or here in the 80s, congrats. This thing's doing great. You would have made a 2x. And yeah, I think Amazon's going to be a strong stock for a long time. So Google, what do we notice here? It's hitting that 50. It's funny how these hit the moving averages and the fibs. They'll range between the fibs when you measure from the high to the low, and they hit those moving averages. So obviously this one has a weekly sell signal. I believe it had a monthly sell signal as well. Let's throw that on. And guys, remember, technical analysis isn't everything. It's just one tool in our toolbox, okay? You should also be researching these companies and looking at their balance sheets. What's their revenue? What's their expenditures? Are they net positive in earnings? Do they have a lot of cash on the side? Those are some general things you can look at. Now, if you've done all your research and you're looking for good value to buy long term, and that is something I'm trying to help with on my channel, I'm trying to simplify investing for you guys and take a look, at least technically, in whether or not you might be finding good long-term value plays. And I'm not advocating for trading or buying, selling options, futures, things that are more risky. Just buying where things are. And as you can see, we have a sell signal on the monthly and the weekly. So I would wait until this found a base around here, around the 126. And let's go back to the EMAs. And yeah, should it get underneath this 50 and closer to the 100? As you can see, the 100's trending up. So even if you got underneath here and got around 126, I think that'd be hard not to get some Google. So yeah, Google looking pretty good. Meta, kind of like Amazon, this thing's just looking bullish, doing pretty well. Market cap 1.3 trillion. Let's go to Amazon. What's Amazon's market cap at right now? We're going to have to look at that. So market cap 1.85 trillion. All right. Next, let's take a look at AMD. This is another good stock. This one, again, another one that's just straight bullish. Any other stocks that I've missed? Oh, I missed Tesla. So Tesla, kind of the bastard child of the Magnificent Seven. As we take a look at Tesla, I drew this trend line here because we keep bouncing in this area, and as you can see, it looks like we're going to bounce down there again. Also drew this trend line because at the upper range we keep hitting this, and at the lower range we've been hitting this. Now, at least at the lower range, and this goes back since March of 2020 and starts about back here, as you can see, we broke underneath this. So that is not looking good as far as these two macro trend lines are concerned. Tesla, I've talked about this before. Its market cap is, well, it's been going down, but at times it's been 15 to 20 times higher than Ford and GM with half the amount of revenue as a car company. So for me, that's way too rich for my blood. And I know there's a lot of good things to like about Tesla. And actually their balance sheet is something I really like. They have a lot of extra cash on hand. So they have a very healthy looking balance sheet. They would survive a large recession more than likely. However, on the charts and technicals, I think there's a lot of things to just have some common sense about and and recognize that maybe this thing is way overvalued. So should Tesla ever have a gigantic fall, you could think that maybe you get back down to this 60 range at the very in the most bearish scenario. Should we have another .com crash or 2008 financial crisis, I could see this thing selling off really hard from the highs. So if we did have, let's just say to up here, that would be an 85% correction. I know that seems crazy. Guys, this happened with other good stocks like Amazon in the .com bubble days. So something to keep in mind. And even for the strongest stocks in the world, if we go back a little bit to the great financial crisis or .com crash. Yeah, let's go here, great financial crisis. What kind of correction did we get from the high to the low? 61%. That's Apple. That's the second strongest or second highest valued stock in the world today. Even Apple had a 60% correction. So if that can happen to Apple in a large recession, I think for Tesla it'd be even worse. Let's get into earnings. Let's go back a little bit. Let's start with Monday and let's just see if there's any stocks of note, things that we like and use, common looking stocks here. So nothing I really want to look at on Monday. Tuesday, we have Target. I'm curious where Target's at. I'm not as big on retail stores. They've been having a lot of struggles. Now, me saying that out loud, maybe that means that retail stocks are pretty bearish right now, and maybe there's some good areas for value. People found value down here, got under the 200 moving average, and right here we're seeing if, yeah, this is looking very extended. So I would expect some selling here on Target. That's a very strong move in a very short period of time. So I would not be buying Target right now. In the last couple months for it to move 60%, you guys remember what I showed you about Microsoft? That looks too extended to me. So Target, I wouldn't be touching that right now. I like shopping at Target. I've been shopping there since I was a kid. However, I have seen it, I guess over the years, I haven't seen it overall improving as far as what I would like. So Target and Walmart, I maybe I'm just socially I don't want to engage with the public as much as I get older, but I haven't seen Target really become any nicer of a store or offer anything better as far as their products, their shirts and things like that. So yeah, Target, not really excited about it. CrowdStrike Holdings, CRWD. Let's take a look at that one. How's CrowdStrike looking? Very bullish. And that's been going up here since January 23. So if we measure that move, wow, 300% since that bottom. So congrats if you got it down there. We do have this long-legged doji candle right here, so that can move violently either way. Because we had this little correction and blew through it, maybe you could look for it to come back down to 270 should it have any sort of a large move down. Any others that stand out here? All right, let's go to Wednesday. JD.com. JD. Here we go. So, oh my God, this stock isn't looking great. Let's zoom way out. Let's zoom way out. Man, it's at levels that it has not seen since, 2009? No, 2014. 2014 got up as high as 110 and has just come way down. So this is definitely one of those stocks that once all the money printing was going on in 2020 into 2021, this one ran up huge. You can see that. Well, let's go from March of 2020. That's that little dip down there that it ran up 230%. and has gone down roughly around 80%. So maybe there's some long-term value in JD.com. It has a market cap of 31 billion. It's under the trend lines. Let's take a look at the buy sell signals and notice what do we see here. So at least on the weekly, we had most recently a buy signal. Now we are creating lower lows here. And if we at the very least want to go on the monthly, we are still playing out a monthly sell signal from back here. Now that has been playing out for some time to the tune of excuse me, to the tune of 65%. And as you can see, it's forming a base here, and we are oversold. So maybe this could be the start of when you start dollar cost averaging into JD. I would look for a turnaround with the buy signal. Now we have one on the weekly, so maybe you're trying to front run it and get it there, even though on the monthly it's showing that we're still red. Guys, I also like when we double tap the RSI. Usually the first time we tap it, it is not, well, usually. Let me rephrase that. When we first tap the oversold area, the RSI isn't always the very bottom. What can oftentimes happen is the next time we hit it, we go even lower. So I would not doubt if this thing chops up a little bit, comes up, and then really goes down. So if you're willing to be patient, I think you could begin by dollar cost averaging here. Yeah, of course. I mean, look at this. This has been historically good times. And if you've done your research and you like this product and you use this product and you've liked what you've seen on the research and you want to get in, yeah, I think this can be the beginning of where you DCA in. However, if this gets oversold again, this thing could go even deeper. So just something to keep in mind and to look for as you get higher value. Abercrombie and Fitch. I want to show you guys this one. I do not have any Abercrombie and Fitch stock, but my God, what the hell is going on with Abercrombie and Fitch? Are any of you guys still shopping at Abercrombie and Fitch? Is it still a store that sells super tight shirts to people who wear small and medium, and where you can smell it on the other side of a mall, a shopping mall? It's gone up 500% since May. So in the last year, Abercrombie and Fitch has gone up 500%. What the hell's going on with Abercrombie and Fitch? So congrats if you got in anywhere here and you've dollar cost averaged in. This would be a stock where I'd say, maybe take a look at taking some profits. It's got a $6 billion market cap. If I ever had any Abercrombie and Fitch stocks down here and I just woke up and noticed it's way up here, me personally, not financial advice, I'm selling this sucker. So this thing's looking very bullish. And, maybe you're looking at whether or not this is the best area to sell. Let's take a look at the fibs when we draw from the prior high to the low. Look at that. We are right at the 3.618, which is where we're at currently with NVIDIA. So if we go to the 5-day and really zoom in, you can see, and I probably could have drawn my fibs more perfectly. Maybe the 3618 is truly right here. You can see we tested that fib and we've gone down. So that's a very strong macro fib level. I would be taking profits if you had any Abercrombie and Fitch stock. Do you have any Abercrombie and Fitch stock? Comment below if you do. Let's see. Let's move on to Thursday. Here we go. Costco, one of the best stocks in the world. Costco and DocuSign. I think those would be good ones to look at. Costco is one of those stocks. If it ever shows really good long-term trend lines to buy in, I like Costco stock a lot. It's a $326 billion market cap. I think this thing has a lot of room to run. As you can see here, it's looking very bullish. So we can take off the buy-sell signals here. And if we do a macro fib from this high to low, what do we have? So you can see we broke above the 1.618. So maybe Costco, should things continue to be bullish in the upcoming months, maybe this could run as high as 941. That would be my next target. If Costco ever got down below its 100 or 200 moving average. Guys, take a look at this. It's another one of those strong stocks. Look how it just bounces off the 100. I mean, when's the last time it's even been at the 200? Almost, or briefly, almost in 2015. Look how far back we have to go to the great financial crisis of 2011. That's how good of a stock Costco is. So this is one of those. Should we get a recession and we get at the 100 or under to the 200? Guys, do your research on Costco. Maybe think about buying some of this long term. We had some great areas to buy in around the 100. And I hope you guys are learning from my channel that you can open your own trading view account for free. And here are just a couple good indicators to look at to make things simple. Maybe you only put on this indicator, the 20, 50, 100, 200. You could do just that. And if you want to be very simple, you could do that. And one of the buy sell signal indicators, that's this one I use. There's another one that's more of a confirming indicator called UT bot alerts. But you can just use those couple indicators, draw a fib, just like I'm showing you guys how to do it. And when your favorite stocks are at or below the 100 to 200, you can think about dollar cost averaging in. Now, you want to be careful as things are going down so you're not catching falling knives, as they say, and maybe look for a turnaround, but you don't want to miss it either. Because as you can see, sometimes we just bounce. And I'm sure there's weekly buy signals in here too. So Costco, looking great. Good job, Costco. You go, Costco. And what else I want to look at? DocuSign. DocuSign is something I use. Now, what's it valued at? I use it to just sign documents for my job. So $11 billion just for a company that helps you sign things. All right, cool. This thing has been out since April of 18, looking very bearish, bad right now. So it's at levels not seen since the IPO. And as you can see, this is another one of those COVID stocks. Here's the COVID dump. And look at that. It got down to the 50 and just ran up. And we've been underneath these moving averages. So this might be some long-term potential area to buy in DocuSign, at least here on the weekly. We have a higher low. We have some accumulation. That looks good. We are getting a bit high in the RSI. So is this going to go up further? Or is it going to come back down and we'll just range down here again? Let's take a look at the monthly. So we've had 3 monthly buy signals down here. I am curious if this is truly the low. What was I telling you guys about before with the RSI? Look at that. On the monthly, we tapped it twice. What happened? We went lower on average. If you're just looking from the center of the bodies there, we went lower, but the RSI base is going up. So even though there's lower price, there is higher strength in the RSI. That's bullish divergence. So this might be a good long-term play for DocuSign. Do your research. Do you use this product? Do you like this product? Do you like what you see on the research? Maybe consider some DocuSign stock. But definitely do your research. Do not purely go based off technical analysis. That is not enough. Any others? Some telecom stocks. And, if there's any of these stocks that you want to look at, guys, again, real simple. I don't mind showing all of you this for free. I don't care if YouTube ever pays me. This is a way for me to look at stocks myself. And I just enjoy sharing this knowledge with you. And I want to help people find good value in the markets, whether it's stocks or crypto. And one of the things I see people struggle with the most, and that's why I made this channel, Market Psychology 101, is in stocks and crypto. When things get bad, people get disheartened. They stop buying. When those are the times you should be buying. So we want to look for opportunities when there's fear, and we want to be cautious when there's a lot of greed like there is now. So, sure, if we had a recession, this thing could probably go lower. Maybe it go down to like the 20s or something. Who knows? And yet, you guys will see that here are some of the indicators that you can very simply use. You can take a look. I start with the monthly. Okay, I take a look at the last year. I see where are we at in price. Okay, we're not really at yearly highs. We're just ranging around. If we're at yearly highs, I'm not buying it. Okay, if we're ranging around and it's accumulation, sure. And then I go to the monthly. Do we have buy signals, sell signals? What's the RSI looking at? Outside the RSI, another indicator you can take a look at is the MACD. That's not the one I like to use. Where's the other MACD? Well, we can use this one for right now. That is not the one I like to use. My God. Where is the MACD strategy? I believe it's this one. Have I not favorited it yet? Yeah, it's definitely this one. I thought I favored it before. You can take a look at the MACD. Is it getting ready to curl up and go green, or is it getting ready to curl down? As it gets ready to curl down, as you can see, there can be big dumps. So MACD, another important indicator to use. When things start to curl up, then you could see that it's possibly forming a strong base. Like even if we take a look at Apple and the MACD, okay, as you can see here, as we got to the peak of the MACD on the sell side, and we got to the 50 on the RSI, relative strength index, that was a good time to buy because we had some turnaround. It hit the fib. I'm sure it hit a moving average. Okay. So, guys, I hope you're taking some of these ideas with you. Obviously, it's not purely about TA, but the moving average, you can see we got close to it. Yes, we'd like if it smacked it. Apple's one of those, at least on the monthly. Man, when it's at the 50R side, tends to be a good time to buy. On the weekly, yeah, different story. On the weekly, it shows that we got near the 200 week on the RSI, or not, sorry, on the moving averages. So we were under the 100. When we're out here, obviously this is showing on the monthly. Okay. So here are some indicators you can look at. Obviously the buy sell signal indicators. And something to note, guys, you see me use this one a lot. This is more of a leading indicator for buying and selling. If you want more of a confirmation lagging indicator that doesn't get scooped up into as many fake outs as the other one, UT bot alerts is very good. If you want to be mega patient, this is a good one. And anytime we have a buy signal, pretty much any time, tends to be a good time to buy. Now here, look, there was a fake out here. It did go lower. Now overall, if you're just buying and forgetting about it, that was great financial crisis area. So that's how rare that happens. Is it possible we go under here someday? Sure. But overall, if you're using these indicators, that can show you some good areas to buy. And yeah, on the weekly, is when I will have the shortest time frame and think, okay, I'm thinking about buying. I think as you go under even to the daily and in shorter time frames, you're starting to play with fire and becoming more of a trade investor than an investor. And market psychology 101, guys, we have to keep our emotions in check. And if you are going into the shorter time frames, your emotions are going to get tugged at, pulled at, and it's going to be hard because you're going to be excited when it's up here. You're going to feel pissed off when it's down here. And it's not the way to think. If you are a very emotional person, you want to maybe not trade, to be straight up, maybe not invest, and just visit your bank, get a Roth IRA and dollar cost average in, keep it simple. But if you do want to invest, then you need to look at stocks in an unbiased way as much as you can. You want to be a robot. Yearly high, not buying. Yearly low, opportunity. I'm getting excited. I like this product. I use this product. What does the chart say? Have we confirmed a turnaround on longer time frames? So honestly, try to be as robotic as possible with your emotions. And if you are feeling really excited about buying something, that's a good sign for you to take a walk, because I don't want you to chase the hype. I don't want you to chase the news. Try to ignore the news as far as stocks go, because they will tell you the most they'll tell you the most bullish things up here and the most bearish things down here. That's the news. For those of you who are old enough to remember the great financial crisis, you remember what the news was like. The sky was falling. There's blood in the streets. Occupy Wall Street. That was the time to buy, when there's blood in the streets. When things are super great and exciting, tends to be the opposite. And I see this play out all the time. Just watch the dumb articles that come out on CNBC or any of those. So that's all we got for today. I think the employment, a couple things to take away. The employment number ticking up, that's some area for concern. Apple, it's playing out this sell signal at near the 100 moving average. Not the worst time to buy at this fib. I think that can be the beginning of a time to dollar cost average in. But again, if we were to go in a big recession, and remember when Apple was in the great financial crisis, it dipped down 60%. How much did it dip down during the COVID dump? 34%. So let's just go in the middle. Let's say about 40 to 50%. Where would that be? So if Apple had a 40% correction, okay, back here around 114, I would look more at this 124 level because we spiked down here. But let's say at a 50% correction. Well, not really any support there. I would say, you could take a look at this 1618, the 77. This is in a recession, most bearish thing possible. I am not saying Apple's ever going to come back down here. It probably won't. But in the most bearish situation, if it was ever underneath here, underneath the 200 MA, guys, I'm buying that sucker up. That's just me, not financial advice. And don't do what I do all because I say I'm going to do it. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you are all doing well and making good, patient, smart investments, doing your research. And yeah, enjoy your weekend, guys. Thank you for watching the channel. And if there are any stocks or cryptos you would like for me to take a look at, please comment below. So take care. Bye-bye.